Hello. This is the 232nd Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2225, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. So, hi Simon.
Hi Dirk.
So, why are you grinning?
Because I've been sick.
Oh.
Which may explain my dodgy voice. If it is dodgy, we'll see what our listeners notice. But I'm grinning because I feel much better.
You know, you should really think about switching your cyborg chip on again.
You've mentioned that before, because I switched it a long time ago. I switched it off now, yeah. I should. I'll get around to it. But, you know, on the other hand, there's a nice kind of good feeling you get after being sick.
Ah, the feeling of being healthy again.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's
a bit rejuvenating, you know.
It sounds, I want to say fun, but I don't.
Sure, I mean, the being sick part's not fun. That's harsh.
I have to say I'm pretty impressed that you stick to having no cyborg chip activated for, what was your goal the whole year still?
That was the goal, yeah.
Okay. I mean, also your wings look pretty deteriorated.
Sure, yeah, they're kind of molting and they're on their way out.
Okay. Yeah, but
anyway, so I'm feeling good. But just my voice might still be a bit hoarse.
So are you grinning because you are sick or you were sick or you're feeling better?
Because I'm feeling better.
Okay. You want to know why I'm grinning?
Our listeners couldn't see that you are, but you are indeed. I would like to know, yes please. Do tell.
Because of the news that fast space travel is coming. We talked about it like half of the afternoon, but our listeners should know about it.
Right, exactly. It's good to update them and keep them abreast of such things.
Yes.
So exactly, it's almost about to launch.
Yes, almost.
All the contracts, T's are crossed, I's are dotted, and so on. So is there much else left to... is there an official launch date already?
Early next year, they're saying so. But I mean, for the longest time, it was basically on hold or delayed.
Yeah, kept being delayed.
First, they needed to figure out how to do it, then build the right spacecraft, and then I didn't have the material, and then I had to move Pluto, and blah, 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 blah.
And now,
listeners that listen
a few months from now, it will be ready.
Exactly. I mean, listeners that listen to every episode, they kind of maybe followed it along a little bit.
Maybe lost track of it by now, if it's been a while since we last spoke about it.
But so they're starting to sell tickets, which brings me to the next point tying into this. It's coming, and as it turns out, people don't care.
There isn't the surge of demand, they were expecting tickets to sell out like overnight. They had this whole system set up like a lottery system, like say that you want to buy a ticket and then they'll let you know if you can. That's why you're grinning, because you were able to get tickets no problem.
I actually, to be honest, I haven't actually tried. I was just more excited about the news, and when we get to it, I would like to know which routes will they open up and so on. So for now, it's just registering interest. Yeah. And of course, they want to know which routes do we open up, how many people do we need to fit in, and then how often is the schedule, blah, blah, blah. So they're still assessing all of this. And then I know you're excited, I know I am excited, and it turns out that we're not really representative.
Right. Yeah, we're much more enthusiastic than the majority of folk about
I think maybe,
space travel.
I think in general, maybe also, or specifically at least about...
Sure, I see what you mean, but for this point.
Yeah. So maybe they just didn't do a proper market survey, or people kind of lost interest because it took so long. Maybe.
Could also be, people like the idea of a thing more than actually doing a thing. Like, fast space travel is fast, but you're still going to be away from Earth for a little while, And
True.
Maybe it would depend on the time of year, yeah? Like, it was announced just now, so September. Maybe if they'd announced that it was coming different time of year, you're, I think, more aware of such things, but different times of year maybe work better for announcing such things in terms of actually people being excited about buying the tickets. Like, it's just after the school holidays, So maybe people aren't rushing to buy their next holidays. I'm not sure how that works.
It could also be that people are just being a little bit skeptical, Sure.
They would want to wait and see if it actually...
Exactly. First,
how reliable it is.
Also, let's see if it actually happens in the first place.
Sure.
And then let's see if it actually properly works. They send off the first ship, never comes back. It's like,
sure.
Okay, never mind.
Or it comes back and the people are like 50 years older. That's fast from our perspective, but not so great maybe from the people's perspective who've gone on the space flight.
I mean, like so far, humans only recently started leaving the solar system, but then on our slow tardigrade ships. But let's say at least transport to Moon, Mars, and some of the other planets that's kind of like normalized. That was pretty exceptional in the beginning, and now there's just standard shuttles going there back and forward. I mean, they're even leaving next door to you from the shuttle station. So that kind of normalized. So maybe they kind of expected, if people think this is normal, to just take a shuttle to the moon, that they, just take a shuttle to the wideness of space. Maybe people are still a little bit unsure what to do out there.
Yeah, so I guess from our perspective, just as people interested in it, but especially from the perspective of the companies involved, once it actually launches, hopefully it will build momentum.
Yeah, true. And maybe also
word of mouth will help it grow.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, early next year, probably.
Early next year.
Let's see if prices and tickets and routes are announced, and maybe we can talk about it some more.
Sounds good.
But today we talk about something else that's new. It's about the ReCreation that just opened up on the ground floor of your apartment.
Exactly, the ReCreation Center. Yeah, we mentioned it back in episode 219, briefly. And exactly, it's just opened up, like you say.
Yeah.
And we figured let's talk about it.
And it's a bit of a chain, so there were already ReCreations elsewhere, but now there's one right here. Which means on the one side, really cool because it's really close by. On the other side, as we mentioned last time, it's exclusively for robots, which I'm not.
No, and nor am I. Exclusively for robots in the sense of actually making use of the facilities and the treatments and so on. But we
can go
are
there.
allowed to hang out in the waiting area.
Yes.
So
And
go with our friends.
Yes, exactly. That was also actually the fun bit. And I mean, for the one thing, they had the opening earlier today, this morning. So we got to go there, even though we couldn't do any of the treatments. But in general, apparently, as you were saying, you can still go there and hang out, even as a non-robot, just for the atmosphere, because the atmosphere apparently is quite...
Yeah, I mean, partly also it's just a brand new place, so it's extra nice, but also, I guess even in a few years, when it's been around a while, it will still be a nice place to hang out.
Yeah, and it's also because you're, because robots get treatment there, it's not that they're like stuck away in a room or so. It's just a big open space where there's all kinds of treatments taking place. So there's all kinds of busyness going on. So even as somebody who doesn't get a treatment, it's still nice to walk around or sit around.
Yeah, well, exactly. There's coffee, of course, sparkling water.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe we speak a little bit about the opening itself and then maybe go over some of the treatments.
Sounds good.
So maybe what did you remember most from the opening?
So because exactly it was the grand opening. I mean, they had a soft opening last week, just to make sure everything was working. This was the grand opening. So there was a ceremony at the start. Mayor came by, snipped a big ribbon with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
And then there was actually a really nice ballet number, so robots dancing a really lovely ballet. Then there was a motor oil fountain.
Oh, yeah, true.
That was pretty cool to look at.
I didn't know it was motor oil until I got like a cup.
Right.
I didn't. I noticed it before I sipped.
Sure, from the smell.
But I thought it was like a black chocolate.
Nope. It's a robot place after all.
I should have realized this.
We weren't the only humans there as guests, but still, the focus is for robots.
I mean, and,
like I say, there was coffee. So
and we did. There were some of our robot friends that tagged along with us. We even made them aware of the fact that a ReCreation was opening.
Yeah, a couple of them. It wasn't on their radar.
Yeah, it's like Marvin couldn't make it, but Napoleon was there.
Yeah, Mozart as well.
Yeah, X was there for a little bit.
Yep.
Susan.
Yep, she made it as well.
So that was also nice because they are very different robots.
Right, from each other.
Exactly.
In terms of build.
And they also care about different treatments. So one of them got one thing, one of them got some other thing. And then we as watchers, as spectators, we got to see some of these treatments. Yeah. I thought that you mentioned the ballet. I thought that was pretty well done.
Exactly. I'm not in general, I'm not a huge fan of ballet. What set this apart from, in general with, not always, but basically robots can be faster than people.
Yes.
So it was intricate dance moves, not speed for the sake of speed, but just it was still really awe-inspiring, the way they moved.
And also some of the typical ballet movements, they could just do really well and maybe a little bit longer than humans and so on, but it wasn't like frantic because robots can do all kinds of things. It was still very fluent and I don't know what the word is. It really felt like ballet perfectionized.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I must say that robots in tutus looked slightly funny.
You're not used to it. I mean,
no,
sure.
But yeah, it was quite a
It was a spectacle.
Spectacle. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And then basically all the booths open up, and then everybody could just go somewhere. Sometimes there were queues, and sometimes they were just like waiting for somebody to say, "Hey, how about this?"
Yeah, and there was like a lot of. It's not so exciting for our listeners, but I forgot to mention. Of course, there was like an opening speech by the owner after the ballet. Explaining briefly that this is the grand opening, so it's a bit different from usual. Usually, you'd need to make an appointment, be a bit more organised. But this was just rather, hey, everyone come along and check out all the things we do. And so, like you say, there were queues and so on.
And they had like symbolic rates for the first day. So it wasn't completely free, but it was super cheap. And also because the mayor, coincidentally, is a robot itself, they underwent the first treatment as kind of like a Kickstarter. And then all kinds of treatments. And some were relatively self-explicable, and some were a little bit more specific. What I thought was interesting was like the recharging, because recharging you can basically do in your house or outside or
a cafe,
wherever.
just plug in. Yeah,
exactly. But like the place itself was completely indoors, so just as a robot being there, you would basically charge
just existing in the building or. Yeah, in the center.
Exactly, and this was, as far as I understood, Napoleon. This was like the idea was that this was permanently free of charge.
Right, because you're going there for some other treatment that you're paying for. So, like as a courtesy, there's inductive charging throughout the entire establishment.
Actually, I'm thinking now it's charging free of charge.
Oh, indeed.
So
they didn't make a pun of it, but maybe they'll make a pun of it at some point.
Yeah, they should think about that. But I also think this is maybe also like a bit of a marketing thing, because you can go in there and then charge for free. But of course, while you're in there, you might as well get a treatment. So just robots just showing up for a quick recharge, they might as well, or at least at the minimum, they take away a leaflet or something like that. Sure. So the recharging aspect was pretty interesting. Any of the treatments that stuck to your mind?
Replacing?
Yeah.
Next one, also on our list, but also in my mind. I'm talking about it because it's related to recharging. That's when most often it's like a power cell that needs replacing, because sure, you can recharge a power cell many, many times, but at some point it doesn't last as long.
Yeah.
And so we saw a couple of robots there getting their energy cells replaced. Probably our listeners can imagine such things from tech from their time. It sounds pretty basic, I think. But it's a bit more involved with a robot. Like it takes up actually a huge part of their body mass, the energy cells. So having that replaced, it looked a bit scary to me, actually.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you don't really think about when you're in the world interacting with robots. You don't really think, most of your body is actually energy cells.
Yeah.
Like not just one big core, like in the torso, but like throughout the legs and the arms as well.
And it's also essentially with a robot, like you can power down, and you can essentially take a robot completely apart, put it back together, and it'll be fine, unlike humans.
Sure.
But of course, it's still tricky.
Especially because it's not like there's just one model of robot. Yeah, there's so much variety.
And you need to know what goes where and make sure that the whole backup is working.
Exactly, and that's the point of this ReCreation center, is that they have that expertise. Yeah. It's not like a bunch of amateurs.
Exactly, and also the thing is, if some things you can do at home, right? Like, so of course, if you're a robot, you have quite a few skills. So you can basically do quite a few of these things at home. You know, I can't remember how often I've sat down with Mozart, you know, and, you know, have a chat, have a cup of coffee while she's replacing bits.
Okay, yeah.
And then, but in this case, of course, at one point you get to a point where you need to power down
temporarily,
because you're touching on the essential bits, and then of course that you can't do yourself.
Right.
The ReCreation is really good for this.
Yeah. And just so that's what we saw earlier was the replacement of power cells. They did point out the folk who worked there that they also can replace other parts if they need to, or if you as a robot want to, but they weren't doing that earlier.
True. Yeah. I guess maybe that takes a bit more time and a bit more preparation. They
need to order the parts. Yeah.
And it's also not something that they, you know, can probably do spontaneously.
Exactly. That's where you make an appointment. They order whatever they need, and also maybe you have to do a bit of research.
And also on an opening event like that, if there's a lot of people around, like if you have to do a bit more delicate operation, that is maybe not the proper event for that. What I thought was nice was the rebooting, which is also something. It's relatively simple. You know, occasionally robots just need to reboot. You know, because all kinds of things are gathering.
Systems bunch of log files and so on.
Exactly. Things have been running for so long, and all kinds of databases are full and things like that. So a basic reboot and everything is clean and working smoothly again. And this is something that a robot can theoretically do, but it's recommended to not do it by yourself.
Correct.
Because you never know if the reboot actually happens. Maybe you need to punch in a code. Maybe you need to press a button. Maybe you need to issue in a command, or maybe it just goes wrong. You know, if you're the one that's being rebooted and it doesn't work, what's up? Yeah.
So exactly. So like replacing your energy cells, you can do it at home, of course. You can, especially if you have a friend or a family member who can help you out. And this is like a deluxe. I mean, like as a person, you can cut your own hair at home, of course, and you can go to a hairdresser. So similar deal. They do it a little bit more deluxe, a little bit more service. They do that there.
What did you think about the resetting?
That was a new one to me, actually. That was interesting. Because a reset, for our listeners, resetting is when a robot decides, you know what, I want to go back to factory settings. Yeah. So forget everything I've learned since I was first switched on, be a whole new robot, effectively. And so new to me in the sense of, if you think of the equivalent, like for us as humans, sure, our bodies would still be alive, but would we be us if we didn't remember our whole lives? Yeah. But the difference with robots is, sure, they can do that, but it doesn't mean they've actually completely erased all their memories and experiences and them as a person. Rather, that can be saved somewhere and later reintegrated into them.
If they so desire.
Yeah, if they desire. If they can also decide not to. And that was that was another thing for another day, I guess. But the point they were showing earlier today was exactly. So the example given was you want to. You've had a whole lot of stressful stuff going on in your life, and you need to really be able to focus on something else for the next few months. So you reset yourself that you can just focus on this one particular thing for a few months, and then reintegrate your memories from before.
I was also thinking about this because it all sounds sensible. It still sounded a little drastic. I can imagine that if you make the decision, you plan for it to be temporary. You have a reason. I don't want to, bring all my memories along. I just want to have a fresh start for...
Maybe have like a soft partition. So rather than your memories being backed up externally, they're still in you as a robot, just that there's a...
closed off.
Exactly, it's closed off, but there's a timer on it, and when the timer expires, when you get a notification saying, hey, tomorrow morning you're going to have all your old memories back, and then they come back.
And then they're going to tag on top of the things that you have already experienced. So it's not like they get replaced. But I was still thinking, if that's the case, then you'll have a reason for that. And of course, you're going to make a backup because you never know, but then of course you restart, you're a new person,
right,
essentially. And then what would be a reason to go like, I want all my stuff back, not knowing what it was and not knowing why you decided to get rid of it in the first place.
True. It would depend if you'd left yourself a note, an explanation, of course, then you could know. But if you didn't do anything like that, then you would really have no idea.
And I also can imagine you bring them back and you go like, oh yeah, that's why I didn't want any of this.
Oh, and then you can do it again.
I want to get rid of it again. Yeah, of this part. But as far as I understood, because it's still relatively drastic, and of course afterwards you'll have no memory of what you got rid of and why, it needs to go through like a peer review.
Sure, yeah, with at least, with 2 of your peers.
Yeah.
So 2 of your either friends, colleagues, but basically people who you trust.
Yeah. Or if you decided, as far as I understood, you could also have like a neutral peer review. Just have your case presented, and then if they don't see any concerns, you just get it signed off. I mean, they didn't do any of that yesterday, so they just had information about this.
That was one of the booths. Exactly, that was more an informational booth.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. I think it's good that it's there. I was just thinking, if I were a robot, not all my memories are great, but they kind of made me.
Sure.
I know. Could you do partial resets?
I want to reset various save points. Yeah, like
I want to reset 2213 because that year kind of sucked.
Oh, I see. Like carve out in that case a year.
Yeah, I said I wouldn't be resetting then. Actually, it would just be. But I would just be. I don't know.
I guess that would be rejiggering.
Rejiggering. I heard that too. I didn't look into what that was. I saw just the rejiggering boot.
Yeah, we didn't go over to that, so I also didn't read it. But maybe that's what that was.
Maybe it's just like completely randomize all your memories.
Wow, that was like shuffle mode.
shuffle your memories.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
it's
why.
the ReCreation Center, so that's why it's called rejiggering rather than just shuffle. Maybe our listeners noticed all the services they offer begin with the letters R.
Everything Yeah.
I mean, that would be interesting also just for body parts. As a robot,
Randomized body parts. I'm just thinking about, like, maybe it's not what we're guessing that it was. No. Like, randomize your memories. It still sounds fun to think about.
Yeah.
What if you have your memories randomized? It's like, hey, didn't I borrow you this book? Or remember when we went on this holiday? And none of that is true because you went on holiday with somebody else somewhere else.
Yep.
Interesting.
Most definitely.
I wonder if they'll ever have some of these services for humans where you go like, okay, we can't reboot, but maybe some of this, we can't recharge, we can't
replacing body parts, of course, we do. I mean, Cyborg Chip lets you develop your own, and then in a drastic accident, you can have one replaced externally as well. Yeah,
I guess, yeah.
But it's still a little bit more in time involved and a little bit more, it's not as trivial to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So at least our robot friends definitely seem to enjoy it. Not sure if they'll be permanent guests, but it felt a little bit like a beauty parlor, all kinds of robots getting all kinds of treatments, sipping a coffee, watching what's going on.
Yeah, like as well as the complimentary charging, inductive charging, recharging. There was also complimentary like waxing and buffing of all the robots. So when everyone comes out looking extra,
super shiny. Yeah,
exactly, super shiny, super sharp.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Yeah, that's, I would say, about it for the ReCreation. Shall we move over to the listener question?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We've not done those in a while, I think, because
we had a few quite exceptional episodes.
Exactly. So now we're in my apartment as usual.
Yes.
Let's read a listener question.
You want to read it?
Yeah. So this is from Omar47A. And he wrote, in response to episode 222, ever since I heard this episode, I have your closing song stuck in my head. Thanks a lot. And episode 222, looking on the old iPod here, that was Spaceman.
Could be,
Spaceman?
yeah.
I think it was Spaceman.
So Omar finishes also with kind of like a smiley face, so he says,
That's
thanks
what
a lot.
Is. It's a colon and then a capital D.
Capital D, yeah. This is a smiley face.
I've seen this style emoji, like before there were emoji, like old.
I've seen this
hieroglyphic style.
Our listeners use them quite a bit. But Omar, there is a really good 23rd century trick when you have a song stuck in your head. So we got that song stuck in your head. Sorry about that, although it's a pretty good song.
Good song, yeah.
But there's a trick for that in the 23rd century. What we do when this happens, we listen to old Danish music.
which works especially because we don't know Danish.
Yeah.
And Danish is somehow the exception for our orjones.
Yeah.
Doesn't get automatically translated.
Yeah.
There's like an extra upgrade pack if you want it to be.
Exactly. So, and this is basically the anti-earworm trick.
Right, because you listen to the song and you like the music, but you can't understand the lyrics.
Yeah.
Somehow it flushes out the earworm from before.
Exactly. So I like to listen to Brøndby Strand, Ikke mælk, for example, or Herfra hvor vi står, The Første Kæreste på månen. These are some of the songs.
So it's fun for me because I don't know Danish, so I don't know you pronounce it correctly, incorrectly, I don't know. But,
no, either.
Yeah, but I recognize some of them.
Actually, and they don't get stuck in your head because you can't really sing along with these songs.
Exactly, because in the 21st century, that's how earworms work. You need to be able to sing along with the song.
Yeah. And if these songs don't work, my favorite to get rid of any earworm, Vi tager fuglen produkt. That's, if you listen to that, every earworm will be gone.
That's pretty good. So, Omar 47A, there you go. Hopefully that's of some help to you.
All right.
Assuming you wanted to get rid of it. Actually, just rereading it. It says thanks a lot. So
Thanks a lot.
Very grateful to have that song. So don't worry. So we just talked about getting rid of them. You don't have to. You don't have to, Omar. You can totally keep that song.
Spaceman.
That's the one.
So now it's back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Listeners to Test from the Future, please send an email to microlasagna5@gmail.com with the number 232 in the subject line so that we know this episode successfully made it back to whenever you're listening to it. And of course, ask any questions or say any things that you like to us.
And for now, thanks for listening and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.
Kan du også høre det?
Ja, det lyder virkelig godt.
Benjamin, er det dig?
Jeg er ikke længere Benjamin. Nu er jeg blot mælkemand.
Og det der er størst, er at slukke jeres tæer. For jeg vil give jer mælk i liter min.
Så meget vi kan drikke.
Præcis.